على رسول الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد, I'd like to continue with and we hope to end our reading on Salātul-Khawf today, inshallah. As I had mentioned to us earlier, Salātul-Khawf deserves some sort of attention because it's not something that is commonly observed. It is hardly observed. So therefore it is hardly talked about. People will hardly explain how to observe Salātul-Khawf and the rulings concerning Salātul-Khawf. We explained what does it mean to say Salātul-Khawf in the last class. And we mentioned that Salātul-Khawf is established inside the Quran. It is established from the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. It is also established from the Ijma', from the consensus of the companions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We also mentioned that amongst those who have cited consensus on the matter was Al-Hafiz ibn Hajar and others, like Al-Imām ibn Al-Muqdasi, rahimahumullah. After that, we mentioned that the ulama say that the ahadith of Salātul-Khawf are established to be either 6 or 7. The ahadith that have brought Salātul-Khawf give us either 6 or 7 forms, surah, of observing Salātul-Khawf. Either 6 or 7. He said yes, others mentioned other numbers, but it appears that those others can collapse into the 6 or 7 forms. We mentioned those amongst the ulama who have that view, like Al-Imām ibn al-Qayyim in Zād al-Ma'ād, like Al-Hafiz ibn Hajar in Fath al-Bari, and his Shaykh, rahimahullah, Al-Hafiz al-Iraqi, rahimahullah. They all say Salātul-Khawf occurs in 6 or 7 forms. That's also the view of Al-Imām Ash-Shawkāni, who is the author of our book Ad-Durar Al-Bahiyyah. So Salātul-Khawf has 6 or 7 forms, and all the 6 forms are established in or from authentic ahadith. From these 6 or 7 forms, we narrated 3 for us in the last class. I'm just trying to bring us back to where we are. I'm trying to remind us of what we did last and bring us to this class today. Things like this are useful from 2 angles. If someone was forgetting, he will be reminded. If someone was not in this class last week, he will know what are we going to say today. If we just have saying Salātul-Khawf has another form, say okay, some people go, some people come, asking, what are we doing? And as questions and the person asks again, please, this Salah you are performing, is it Salatul Maghrib or Salatul Isha? Because he wasn't there at the beginning of the discussion. The same thing, those brothers who listen to audio, they might not have listened to the last class. But if they listen to this class, having these kinds of introductory notes, they will know where we are coming from. So they can follow us. Because I strongly believe that we are not the only ones following them. A lot of brothers from different parts of the world follow us. You know, because when you go out of this country, for young brothers who like to say we are going abroad, you will not see someone telling you all this. Largely. If you're in Finland, Australia, there's a brother who calls me regularly from Australia. So that's the reason why we like to always, for every class, we like to make us know what are we talking about, then we go on to see to talk about. I hope that we finish this bab today, Babu Salātul-Khawf. After which we will go on to Salātul-Mustafirin, that is Al-Qasr. So that will be in our next class session. So like we mentioned, we have 6 or 7 ways to observe Salātul-Khawf, and we have mentioned 3 of them. Who will remind me of one of them, or the first one that we mentioned? Who will remind us of the first one? Who remembers the first one? The first form of observing Salātul-Khawf. The second one. And the third one. They could be confusing. Cool? Salātul-Khawf. Because we are not this age, so they may be confusing. So that will make us briefly talk about them one, and then proceed inshallah. The first one was from the hadith of Salih ibn Abi Hasma. He said, radiyallahu anhu, that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam observed Salātul-Khawf and led the people. فَصَفَّهُمْ خَلْفَهُ صَفَّيْنِ. So he lined them up behind him in 2 rows. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. فَصَلَّى بِالَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُ رَكَعَةً. صَلَّى بِالَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُ رَكَعَةً. Those directly behind him, he led them in 1 rak'ah. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. ثُمَّ قَامَ. They stood up for the second rak'ah. فَلَمْ يَزَلْ قَائِمًا حَتَّى صَلَّى الَّذِينَ خَلْفَهُمْ رَكَعَةً. So he led the first people in the first rak'ah and then remained standing. He remained standing until صَلَّى الَّذِينَ خَلْفَهُمْ رَكَعَةً. Those behind them observed 1 rak'ah. ثُمَّ تَقَدَّمُوا. Those behind them now came forward. وَتَأَخَّرَ الَّذِينَ كَانُوا قُدَّامَهُمْ. Those who were in front of them now went backwards. فَصَلَّى بِهِمْ رَكَعَةً. Then he led those who came forward. You see now, he rumpled his waist. Those who stood directly behind him observed 1 rak'ah with him, and then went back. Those who were behind came forward, observed 1 rak'ah with him. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So at the end of that rak'ah, instead of making taslim, what happened? He says, وَتَأَخَّرَ الَّذِينَ كَانُوا قُدَّامَهُمْ. So those who were in front, who had observed 1 rak'ah, they went back. Those who were at the back, who had not observed, they came forward, observed 1 rak'ah with him. He says, فَصَلَّى بِهِمْ رَكْعَةً ثُمَّ قَعَدَ حَتَّى صَلَّى الَّذِينَ تَخَلَّفُوا رَكْعَةً. So he waited until those behind, who went behind, observed their second rak'ah. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. ثُمَّ سَلَّمَ. Then he made taslim, and everybody made taslim, because they would have observed 2 rak'ah. Is it clear? Is it clear? The brother said, I'm not saying go. That is the nature of human beings. Al-Imām. Human beings find strange what they don't know. I don't want to say it in Arabic because it may mean abuse. But the point is that when we don't know something, we find strange. So know it today, inshallah. Barakallahu feek. The first form to observe Salātul-Khawf, 2 rows. The first row will observe 1 rak'ah with the Imam. They will stand up. Then they will go back. Those at the back will come forward. Do you understand? It says, فَصَلَّى. Let's read the hadith. Waka hadith wala masa. It says, فَصَفَّهُمْ خَلْفَهُ الصَّفَّيْنِ. Behind him 2 rows. It says, فَصَلَّى بِالَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُ رَكَعَةً. Those who followed him observed 1 rak'ah. ثُمَّ تَقَدَّمُوا. Then he says, ثُمَّ قَامَ فَلَمْ يَزَلْ قَائِمًا. He stood up for the 2nd rak'ah. He remained standing. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. حَتَّى صَلَّى الَّذِينَ خَلْفَهُمْ رَكَعَةً. So he remained standing with the 4th row. Do you understand? They are now standing on the 2nd rak'ah. That time that he remained standing, those who are behind him stood up, started their salah. They were standing, all standing at the beginning. They continued their salah until they finished 1 rak'ah and stood up. So everybody now has how many rak'ah? 1 rak'ah. Remaining how many? 1 rak'ah. So those who were at the back came to the front. Those who were at the front went to the back. He led those who were at the front now. He didn't lead them the first one, Abi. He led them now in 1 rak'ah. They now sat down. When they sat down waiting, those who are now standing at the back, who had observed the first rak'ah with him, they will now complete their own rak'ah. Everybody now sits down and have 1 taslim together with the Prophet Muhammad. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It is clear. The second type. This one occurs. That hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim. So, okay, what can I say in Bukhari Muslim? The second form. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Anna ta'ifatan. It was reported that Anna ta'ifatan saffat ma'ah. A group of people observed the salah with him. 1 group with him. وَطَائِفَةٌ وُجَاهَ الْأَدُوِّ. The second group went to face the enemy, waiting for them. 1 group was with him, the other group was waiting for the enemy. فَصَلَّى بِالَّذِينَ مَعَهُ رَكْعَةً. Those who were with him, he led them in 1 rak'ah. ثُمَّ ثَبَتَ قَائِمًا. He stood up again for the 2nd rak'ah. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. فَأَتَمُّوا لِأَنفُسِهِمْ. So that time he was standing, they went ahead to complete their rak'ah. So those people in the 4th row behind him, those who are with him, how many rak'ahs do they have observed? 2. 1 with him, 1 alone. They will now make the taslim and go away. They will go and wait there. The other people will come. It says, فَصَلَّى بِالَّذِينَ مَعَهُ رَكْعَةً. So he led those who were with him in 1 rak'ah. ثُمَّ ثَبَتَ قَائِمًا وَأَتَمُّوا لِأَنفُسِهِمْ ثُمَّ انصَرَفُوا. So they completed their own salah with him. He was still standing. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And then they went away. فَصَفُّوا وُجُوهَ الْعَدُوِّ. Those who had ended salah with him now went to stand in front of the enemy. وَجَاءَتْ الطَّائِفَةُ الْأُخْرَى. Then the second group came. It is فَصَفُّوا وُجُوهَ الْعَدُوِّ. That is, the first group stood in front of the enemy. The second group came. فَصَلَّى بِهِمُ الرَّكْعَةِ. He now led the second group in 1 rak'ah. Do you understand? الَّتِي بَقِيَتْ, which was left for him. He would have observed how many? 2. But this second group has observed only 1. He will now wait for them in his tashahhud. Do you understand? While he's waiting for them, what will they do? They will stand up and observe the 2nd rak'ah. They will make the taslim together with him. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This one is clear, people. Tell me the first one. This class is for you. Tell me the first. Many of our brothers here are teachers. Please note this fact. Don't wait for your feedback during tests and exams and continuous assessment. Get your feedback from your class. You know what I mean by feedback? Try to know whether your students have understood from that class. Don't wait till continuous assessment. Those things are not a good way, or they are not good ways to assess people's understanding. It's the reason I tell me the first one. I want feedback. Now, you understand it? Jazakallah. Oh yeah, tell me what you understand. Tell me. Don't be shy. You see all these people, they are your brothers. Do you understand? This is where the messenger mentioned no shyness. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Don't be shy. Say, do you understand? Alayhi salam. The first one. 2 rows. The exchange rows. To complete their own. So he waited for them at the shahud. They made the same. Barakallah. So that is the first way. You remember the second way? Tell us this. One group will be with him. The other group goes to face the enemy in case he can come from here. So he leads the first group in 1 rak'ah. He will stand up for the second rak'ah and wait. This group behind him will complete their salah. They will make the taslim. They will go away. How many have they prayed? 2. How many have they prayed? He's on the second rak'ah, standing, waiting. So those people will go away, take that position. The other people will come behind him and observe. He will meet them in their own first rak'ah too. So he will sit down, they will stand up for their own second rak'ah. When they sit down for tahiyyah, he is waiting for them. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He will now make the taslim, then they make the taslim. That is the second one. I hope that it's clear. I mean one. The third one. That one occurs from the hadith of Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari, radiyallahu anhuma. He said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam led the people rak'atayn. One group, 2 groups. He led one group 2 full rak'at. One group was watching, was away, guiding the second group. The second group was with him. The first group was with him, praying with him. The second group was away, watching for them. They finished 2 units of prayer. Full. They went away. Do you understand? The second group came, he led them in salah again. In another 2 units of prayer. That one is the simplest. He led first group, he led them in 2 rak'ahs. Second group, he led them in 2 rak'ahs. So his first 2 rak'ahs are the obligatory one. His second 2 rak'ahs are nawafil. It is from this third form that ulama say that is how we will observe Salātul-Maghrib. You asked about Salātul-Maghrib last class. How are we going to observe Salātul-Maghrib? Was it your question? What did you ask last class? If we are home, the exchange. Salātul-Maghrib will be observed like that. We observe 2 groups. One group is watching, the other group observes Salātul-Maghrib. When they go, the other group comes to guide the people. Because Salātul-Maghrib has how many rak'ahs? 3. This is the view of Al-Imām Al-Hasan Al-Basri and others among ulama. It appears as the favored opinion by Imam Ibn al-Munzir in his book Al-Awsat. There are other opinions. Some say we observe 2 and 1. But it appears confusing. They say, others say there's no proof for that. What we know is that 2 rak'ahs is zuhur, 2 rak'ahs is asr because they were on a journey. So they should observe 3 full rak'ahs of Maghrib. There is no surah of him observing Maghrib in Salātul-Khawf. So they make clear from this, you have to observe Maghrib complete because there is no way of breaking Salātul-Maghrib. Unless in the circumstance of serious fear, is Ad-Durar Al-Khawf. That one is 1 rak'ah. Zuhur, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, Subh, all 1 rak'ah. One, each of them. At their times to be observed as what? 1 rak'ah. When the war is fierce, 1 rak'ah. We are coming back to it. In that 1 rak'ah, there may be chance for ruku, there may be chance for sujood, and there may not be chance for sujood or ruku. There may be chance for istiqbal al-qibla, facing the qibla, there may not be any chance. Just with Allahu Akbar, Sami Allah, just go on. We'll read the hadith. Hadith of Abdullah ibn Abbas, radiyallahu anhu. This goes to explain the importance of salah. Allah bo bueni kakani unse. Allah bai ba mu sallah ba. Sai mu yi a lokacin shi ko a lokutan sa ko sai mu yi sallah. Lokutan isura lokaci. So we must observe salawat at their time. We must be observed. Allah didn't give you salah. He didn't give you. You must, if you are sleeping, if you wake up, what will you do? You observe that. If you forgot, when you remember, what will you do? Take eyes. Unless you do the salah. So don't joke with your salawat. Don't joke with salah. Walk, you are shooting, firing. You must still be praying. May Allah protect all of us. We have answered Salātul-Maghrib. The Salātul-Maghrib should be observed like this. The 3 rak'ahs should be observed for one group. The second group comes, the leader leads them in the second Maghrib. His own Nāsir, their own obligatory for the second group. But the first group, his own obligatory, their own obligatory. I hope that one is clear. The fourth surah, the fourth form of observing Salātul-Khawf occurs in the hadith of Abdullah ibn Umar, radiyallahu anhu. This was the only one I used to know because I set my mind on it. The Malaysian army has a video on the YouTube where they practice this salah. Indonesian army. They had a video in the forest, the tropical forest, when they practice this hadith of Abdullah ibn Umar. صلى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم صلاة الخوف بإحدى الطائفتين. Abdullah ibn Umar said the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم led one of the 2 groups in 1 rak'ah. صلى الله عليه وسلم. He led 2 groups. One was watching the enemy. The second group was with him. He led that group with him in 1 rak'ah. صلى بإحدى الطائفتين ركعة. He led one of the 2 groups in 1 rak'ah. والطائفة الأخرى مواجهة العدو. While the second group was facing the enemy, watching their advancement. ثم انصرف. This first group that he led, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, please listen attention. This first group that he led, they went away. They had not made taslim. They had not ended their salah. They had not made the second rak'ah. They went away like that to take the position of those. ثم انصرفوا وقاموا في مقام أصحابه. They went to take the position of the rest of their brothers. مقبلين على العدو, facing the enemy, guiding the enemy. They have made 1 rak'ah. They have not made taslim. وَجَاءَ أُولَٰئِكَ. Now those people who were guiding the second group will now come behind the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. ثُمَّ صَلَّى بِهِمْ نَبِيُّ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ. Then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam led them in salah rak'atan. He led them in 1 rak'ah. ثُمَّ سَلَّمَ النَّبِيُّ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم. ثم قضى هؤلاء ركعة وهؤلاء ركعة. So those people who were behind him stood up after the Prophet's taslim. They completed their salah and said their taslim. The other people came now, completed their salah, one rak'ah again, and then said their taslim. So the Prophet made his taslim alone, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The second group with him made the taslim alone. The fourth group made the taslim alone after completing their rak'ah. This hadith also occurs in Sahih Bukhari and Muslim. In the riwayah of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu that occurs in Sunan Abi Dawud, he says, Summa Sallama. When the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam made his taslim, فَقَامَ هَؤُلَاءِ يعني الطائفة الثانية. The second group that came, stood up, فَقَضَوْا لِأَنفُسِهِمْ رَكْعَةً. They completed one rak'ah. ثم سلم, they made taslim. ثم ذهبوا, they went back to where they were at the beginning. وَرَجَعَ أُولَٰئِكَ إِلَىٰ مَقَامِهِمْ. Those who were with the Prophet in the first rak'ah returned for that salah. فَصَلُّوا لِأَنفُسِهِمْ رَكْعَةً. So they led themselves, they prayed for themselves one rak'ah, and then they made their own taslim. So the Prophet was the first person to make taslim. The second group was the first group to make taslim. The first group was the second group to make the third set of people to make taslim. I hope that it is clear. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he divided the people in two groups. One group observed one rak'ah with him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. At the end of that rak'ah, when he stood up for his second rak'ah, they went away. The second group came and observed the second rak'ah with him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. After his own second rak'ah and their own first rak'ah, the Prophet made taslim, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Those people stood up to complete their second rak'ah and then they made taslim. The other group came back, made one rak'ah, and then did what? Made theirs. This one occurs in the hadith of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, in Bukhari and Muslim. This is the fourth way to make Salātul-Khawf. There is a fifth way to make Salātul-Khawf. That one occurs in the hadith of Jabir again, ibn Abdullah al-Ansari, radiyallahu anhuma. He said, شهدت مع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم صلاة الخوف. I witnessed a Salātul-Khawf, a prayer of fear that the Prophet observed, صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. فصفنا صفين. This hadith of Jabir, it has stories. Because when they went on that battle, the mushrikun were saying that these Muslims, they will soon start one salah. That salah, ahabbu ilayhim min awladihim. They like that salah more than their children. So when they start that salah, we will just rush them. Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam came to tell the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu. This is what they have said. The companion Jabir said, the Prophet now told us, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the mushrikun say that they will rush us when we are in salah. So we are going to observe this salah tactically. It's going to be what? A tactical salah that will observe, so to speak. So because that salah will take care of that military information that the Prophet had. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. If you read about the ghazawat of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, you know that he was a big mind. He was a person with a big mind. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And to yakake lokoni ganga opoyin Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Is that how you call it? Alayhi salatu. Some big military men used to say that. We hear them say that. And I heard that there are books that have been written on this in military schools. Not secondary school, military schools. In senior military schools about the military campaigns of the Prophet Muhammad and its implication in strategic military planning, in modern day strategic military. Alayhi salatu. The Imam al-Bukhari, Hafiz ibn Hajar, in the Sharh of Kitab al-Magazi in Sahih al-Bukhari, it's a big volume, one of the biggest volumes in Fath al-Bari, when he made the Sharh of the Ghazawat of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The Prophet, one of the scholars, Shaykh Salim ibn Eid al-Hilali, he made these wars one by one, in each war one book, each war one book, each war one book, each war one book. It is something that we should study. It will give us another picture of the life of the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam. And the major lesson there is that the Muslim is not a coward, and we must never be cowards. That's why when he spoke about snakes, the Prophet said sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, ما صالحناهم منذ عاديناهم ما صالحناهم منذ عاديناهم. We have not made peace with them since we made war with them. Snakes. Mankind has not made peace with snakes since we made war with snakes. He said sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, وَلَا يَخَافُهُمْ مُؤْمِنٌ. No mu'min will be afraid of snakes. All of these go to teach us that we must not be cowards. Prepare, put things in your house in case, and follow the adab. So the Muslim is not a coward. He cannot be a coward. No Christian should expect that he's meeting a Muslim who is a coward. He must never be cowards. Men and sinners. May Allah protect all of us from cowardice. It's a bad disease. It's a bad disease. Cowardice. Yoruba say, they don't say that regarding someone who is lazy and cowardice. You must never be lazy. The person who is at the front of all of that, teaching us to go out of that kind of a funny life, is who? The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when we say لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ, it's not only in sunnah and worship and life, even in our approach to life. We must be people of strength, not cowardice. So when Jibreel alayhi salatu, some people will not start running away. Shahidtu ma Rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. I witnessed along with the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wa sallam, Salātul-Khawf, a prayer in the time of fear. Don't forget. It says, فَصَفَّنَا صَفَّيْنِ. The Prophet lined us in two rows. صف خلف رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. One row behind the Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. والعدو بيننا وبين القبلة. During that battle, the enemies were just in front of us in the direction of the Qibla. فَكَبَّرَ النَّبِيُّ صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. So the Prophet made takbir. How many rows were there? Two rows. One directly behind, one after that. The enemies were in the direction of the Qibla. It says, فَكَبَّرَ النَّبِيُّ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ. The Prophet made his takbir. وَكَبَّرْنَا جَمِيعًا. All of us also did what? We made our takbir. All of us. We made our takbir. ثُمَّ رَكَعَ. You see, they didn't go to start saying, he read Fatiha, he read Kulu Allah, because it is known that you must read those things. Because La Salata illa bi Fatiha. Say Kitab. There is no Salah except with Fatiha to Kitab. And then he reads surah from his sunnah. But salawat like these are usually made to be brief. because of our circumstance. He says, فَكَبَّرَ النَّبِيُّ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ وَكَبَّرْنَا جَمِيعًا. The Prophet made takbir. Which takbir is this? تَكْبِيرَةُ الْإِحْرَامِ. To start the salah. We all also made our takbirat. ثُمَّ رَكَعَ وَرَكَعْنَا جَمِيعًا. The Prophet made ruku. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We all made ruku. ثُمَّ رَفَعَ رَأْسَهُ مِنَ الرُّكُوعِ. Then he raised his head up from the ruku. وَرَفَعْنَا جَمِيعًا. We all also stood up. Completely all of us. Both rows. To make ruku. You know kuffar mushrikun, they may be expecting that it is when they are on sujood they will come. ثُمَّ انْحَدَرَ بِالسُّجُودِ. The Prophet went on sujood. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وَالصَّفُّ الَّذِي يَلِيهِ. The row behind him, directly behind him, also went together with him to sujood. وَقَامَ الصَّفُّ الْمُؤَخَّرِ. But the second row was standing. Do we understand this one? The first row went on sujood. You know, ruku, they can say, sujood in Latin. So when the first row went on sujood together with the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the second row was standing. Who are those who will come? Let us see. Don't forget, Allah instructed them in the Quran. He says, وَخُذُوا حِذْرًا. Be careful. وَأَصْلِحَتَكُمْ. Hold your weapons. During all this salah. Their weapons are where? Abu Aisha. They will drop the weapons. They will not drop it. Their weapons are with you. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was regularly under revelation in all these circumstances. That's why ulama say, let us say this. The Prophet had two wahyu that he was receiving. Al-wahyu al-matlub wal-wahyu ghayru matlub. The wahyu that we are reading, Quran, and the one that we are not reading, but it is revelation to him. Jabir told us that Jibreel came to tell him, is that not wahyu? وَمَا كَانَ لِبَشَرٍ أَن يُكَلِّمَهُ اللَّهُ إِلَّا وَحْيًا أَوْ مِنْ وَرَاءِ حِجَابٍ أَوْ يُرْسِلَ رَسُولًا. So that is wahyu. I want to ask, hadith, wahyu means hadith. Al-wahyu wahyan. Wahyu al-Quran wa wahyu al-ahadith. So this is one hadith that proves this. So the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam inhadara bis-sujud wa as-saffu alladhi yalih. The Prophet went on sujood together with the row that was immediately behind him. Wa qama as-saffu al-mu'akhkhar fi nahr al-adu. But the second row was standing face to face watching the enemy. Don't forget, he had told us that wal adu baynana wa bayna al-qibla. The enemies were in front of the qibla watching us. So when those people went on sujood, they are waiting, looking, facing the enemy. Radiyallahu anhum. فلما قضى النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم السجود. When the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam ended his sujood, وَقَامَ الصَّفُّ الَّذِي يَلِيهِ. And then the row that was directly behind him, they stood up for the second rak'ah. إِنْ حَضَرَ الصَّفُّ الْمُؤَخَّرُ بِالسُّجُودِ. When the first row stood up for the second rak'ah, the second saff, what did they do? They went on sujood. You see, there's another team waiting in case there may be an attack. So the Prophet was in front, the second row was in front. At that time they had stood up for the second sujood, the second rak'ah waqam. ثُمَّ تَقَدَّمَ الصَّفُّ الْمُؤَخَّرُ. So after that, when those people ended their sujood and stood up, how many rak'ahs have they all performed? One. The Prophet one, the first row, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The first row, radiyallahu anhum, one. The second row, radiyallahu anhum, one rak'ah. They are all now standing. He says, وَتَأَخَّرَ الصَّفُّ الْمُقَدَّمُ. that saf that was in front now went back. And the saf that was in front, that was at the back, came in front. You know why? So that they too also have the feeling of one rak'ah and one sujood with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So they changed roles. ثم ركع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. The Prophet went on ruku. وَرَكَعْنَا جَمِيعًا. All of us went on ruku. ثم رفع رأسه من الركوع. He raised his head again from ruku. وَرَفَعْنَا جَمِيعًا. We all also raised our heads from the ruku. ثم انحدر بالسجود. Then he went on sujood. صلى الله عليه وسلم. والصف الذي يليه الذي كان مؤخرا في الركعة الأولى. Do we understand? The Prophet went on sujood with that rak'ah, with that row. The Prophet went on sujood with which row? The row that is directly behind him. Don't forget, in the fourth rak'ah, they went to sujood on their own. But this time, they are going to sujood with who? With the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Meanwhile, that first row that had gone in sujood with the Prophet, they are now remaining standing. وَقَامَ الصَّفُّ الْمُؤَخَّرِ فِي نُحُورِ الْعَدُوِّ. So that second row is standing while they go in ruku and in sujood with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. فَلَمَّا قَضَى النَّبِيُّ السُّجُودَ وَالصَّفُّ الَّذِي يَلِيهِ. When the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam ended his sujood and sat down together with the row that is directly behind him, which was the second row at the beginning. The new second row now, we now go on sujood. You know, they are sitting down watching. So they can quickly respond to any attack. So those people now go on sujood. They now come back to sit down for their own tashahhud too. They will make their own sujood. ثم سلم النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. Then the Prophet made taslim. وَسَلَّمْنَا جَمِيعًا. We all now do that. How is that salah? It's easy to grab, so easy to grab. So ulama said this is especially when you can feel they are there. You can just attack us anytime. Make the rules like this. Make salah like this. So throughout the salah, that's what you are watching, you are seeing. This hadith occurs also in Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. From the hadith of Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari radiyallahu anhu. As-Surah al-Sadifah. The sixth surah, the sixth form we like to talk about. How many have we talked about now? 5. The sixth form occurs in the hadith of Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma. He said that anna Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam salla bi Zi Qurad. The Prophet observed salah at Zi Qurad. It's a town far away in the outskirts of Medina. وَصَفَّ النَّاسُ خَلْفَهُ صَفَّيْنِ. People lined up behind him in 2 rows. People were behind him in 2 rows. صَفًّا خَلْفَهُ. 1 row was behind him to observe the salah with him. وَصَفًّا مُوَازِيَ الْعَدُوِّ. The second row was arranged behind him, watching the enemy. 1 row behind him, 1 row with the enemy. May Allah protect all of us. فَصَلَّى بِالَّذِينَ خَلْفَهُ رَكْعَةً. He led those who were with him in 1 rak'ah. ثُمَّ انصَرَفَ هَؤُلَاءِ. They ended their salah and went away. إِلَى مَكَانِ هَؤُلَاءِ. They went to take the position of those others. وَجَاءَ أُولَٰئِكَ فَصَلَّى بِهِمْ رَكْعَةً. The other group came back to observe another rak'ah with the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. So the first group observed 1 rak'ah, made taslim, went away. The second group came and observed only 1 rak'ah, and they did not replace it with second rak'ah. This hadith of Abdullah ibn Abbas shows that sometimes Salātul-Khawf itself can be what? 1 rak'ah. Salātul-Khawf can be work. But Al-Imām Ibn al-Munzir rahimahullah said, this will happen when it's in the Shiddatul Khawf, when that fear and war is tense. This hadith of Ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma was also reported by Huzayf ibn al-Yaman and Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu and Zayd ibn Sadiq. The best of those I have seen collecting this hadith of Ibn Abbas and the rest of the other ahadith about Salātul-Khawf, apart from Al-Imām al-Bukhari and Muslim, was Al-Imām al-Nasa'i in his Sunnah, Al-Mujtabah. Al-Imām al-Nasa'i gathered all these ahadith in his Sunnah. Those ones in Bukhari and Muslim, they are in Sunnah al-Nasa'i. They are also in Sunnah Abi Dawud. And they are all almost in Musnad Imam Ahmad. So they are the best compilers of all. The easiest access to all these ahadith is in Sunan al-Nasa'i. But I have chosen Sahih Muslim because they are all also in Sahih Muslim. So this hadith of Abdullah ibn Abbas occurs in Sunan al-Nasa'i that we read to us. And that was why Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma said, Faradallahu salata ala lisani nabiyyikum, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made salah obligatory upon the tongue of your Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Fil habari arba'a. Fil habari arba'a. When you are at home, how many rak'at? 4 rak'at. Wa fi safari rak'atayn. When you are on the journey, how many rak'at? 2 rak'at. Wa fil khawfi rak'atan. And during serious fear, how many rak'at? 1 rak'at. When the fear is severe, 1 rak'at. Like Ibn Abbas told us, 2 groups. One group is guiding. The other one will pray with the Imam. They make the Taslim, they go and guide. The second group comes with us. They pray with the Imam again. They go and guide. No, none of the 2 groups will go and start paying back again. No paying back. 1 rak'ah to go see them. That's about Salātul-Khawf. How many have we mentioned? Al-Imām Ahmad bin Hanbal said, ثبت في صلاة الخوف 6 أحاديث أو 4 أو 7. ثبت في صلاة الخوف 6 أحاديث أو ماذا؟ أو 7. أيها فعل المرء جاز. أيها, any one of these 6 or 7 that the individual observes, jaza. That is allowed for him. That's why back in Ad-Durar Al-Bahiyyah, Al-Imām Ash-Shawkāni said, rahimahullah, قَدْ صَلَّاهَا رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم على مدى صفات مختلفة وكلها مجزئة. وكلها مجزئة. الإمام الشوكاني said, وكلها مجزئة. And then he says, rahimahullah, وَإِذَا اشْتَدَّ الْخَوْفِ, when the fear becomes intense, وَالْتَحَمَ الْقِتَالِ, and the fighting becomes fierce, صَلَّاهَا الرَّاجِلُ وَالرَّاكِبُ, onikaluku individuals to be observing it. الرَّاجِلُ وَالرَّاكِبُ, while walking and while on your ride, you won't even come down from your ride. Be praying like that. وَلَوْ إِلَى غَيْرِ قِبْلَةٍ, even if that means that you are not facing the Qibla. وَلَوْ بِالْإِمَاءِ, even if it is just demonstration. رَبَّنَا لَكَ الْحَمْدُ, you are going. Observe Salah. When the fear is intense and the battle becomes what? Fear. Stop. Observe the Salah like that. Even if you are not facing the Qibla, even if you can't come down from your disc body, even if it be that you are just walking like that, just go on praying. And that occurs in the hadith of Abdullah ibn Umar, that Al-Imām al-Bukhari and Muslim have also reported, and others. He said, رضي الله عنه, فإذا كان خوف أكثر من ذلك. When he described that salah to us, you remember the hadith of Ibn Umar? when he told us about Salātul-Khawf, just now we read the hadith. He said, but when the fear is much more than that, فَصَلِّ رَاكِبًا أَوْ قَائِمًا, observe the salah. Whether you are riding on the beast of burden, أَوْ قَائِمًا, or you are standing on your feet on the ground. تُومِئُ إِيمَاءً. In fact, as you go, you can make ima'at. Just be demonstrating. Just carry on. When the fear is what? When the fear is severe. The riwayah of Al-Imām Al-Bukhari says, فَإِنْ كَانَ خَوْفٌ هُوَ أَشَدُّ مِنْ ذَلِكَ. When the fear becomes more intense than what we have said, صَلَّوْا رِجَالًا. You pray like that while moving on your feet. Qiyaman, whether you are standing ala aqdamihim on your feet, or rukbana, or you are climbing you are riding on your beast of burden. Mustaqbilin qibla, whether you are facing the qibla, or ghayru mustaqbiliha, or you are not facing the qibla. This hadith occurs in Bukhari and Muslim, as we said. And yes, it is a statement of Abdullah ibn Umar. Ulama say la majala li hadha min ar-ra'i. He could not have said this from his own personal opinion. But others amongst the ulama say, don't disturb yourself. Al-Imām ibn Majah, rahimahullah, he mentions a report where Abdullah ibn Umar directly ascribed this statement to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That report from Al-Imām ibn Majah, we find something similar to that from Al-Imām ibn al-Munzir in his book Al-Awsat. So the hadith is صحيح مرفوع وموقوفا بحكم الرفع. So whichever way you like to see, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam taught us to make Salātul-Khawf when the fear is severe, whether we are facing the Qibla or not, whether you are standing or you are sitting on your beast of burden, and you carry on. Like those times when there are demonstrations. And Islam hates demonstration. Islam hates protest and demonstration. Islam hates protest. Everything a person will do to show publicly disavowal for authority, Islam hates it. Don't come out in the public and say, we don't agree. Nah, this is not Islam. The Prophet prohibits it. And the ulama say the ahadith that prohibit these kinds of actions are mutawatirah. Have been widely reported by the companions of Allah. Some people say, oh, protest is good. Protest is not bad. So you ask them, where in the text of Quran or Sunnah does Islam support that? The rank and file of the people should come out on the street and shouting, oh. Where? And coming out to shout and make a noise and all of these, they are not from the attributes of reasonable people. Let me give us 5 examples. Egypt started demonstration. Till today they have not been out of it. Tunisia started it. Till today they are still struggling to have a presidential election. In Libya, till today, Libya has not settled. Last week, there was a bomb blast in their airport. Yes, in Libyan airport. There was a bomb blast. They killed Gaddafi. Since the day they killed Gaddafi till today, they have never known peace. Don't ask me about Syria. Allahul Musta'an. It was demonstration that led them to it. It was, they call it peaceful protest. Okay, leave the Muslim world. Hong Kong. In Hong Kong, it was said to be peaceful. But now, physical fight between police and the protesting. What are you calling peaceful? Protest can be peaceful. There is nothing like peaceful protest. It does not exist anywhere. Except on the lips of those who say it. So don't start it. And don't encourage people to start it. There are people amongst the Khawarij in the past. They are called Al-Qa'adiyyah. Al-Qa'adiyyah amongst the Khawarij. They are those who will not rise in insurgence against government, but they will sit down and incite people to rise against government. That is the ruling that some of the people will be giving them now. Yes, you will not come out to say we know go be starting on the streets and causing commotion, but you are giving people the fatwa to do it. That is the way of the Qa'adiyyah amongst the Khawarij. They sit down somewhere giving fatwa, go along the Nuru, their own children in London and US, Saudi Arabia are studying. But they encourage the children of the rank and file of the people in the society, go and disrupt the peace in the community. That's why one of the major symbols of the Khawarij is that they encourage uprising. They encourage uprising. And stand up against government. When you see a learned person saying this, just know where he belongs to. They were called for Aliyy in the history of Islam. They sit down, they give you people fatwa a lot daluru. You won't see them there. Unfortunately, when you daluru and police catch all of you, they will not be there. I remember during the presidential election after President Obasanjo, it was in Kaduna. There was someone who was shouting, if somebody comes, they will not do this, they will do this, He was among those who incited that violence. In all security, they are hearing everything you are saying, and they are watching you. A day to the day that he will be arrested. Somehow, he got aware that he was being arrested. He flew behind his fence and ran away. He started saying, you are supposed to wait. Why are you running away? Well, to see the result of your mouth and hand. So don't allow anybody to tell you, go out and protest, go out and... What the Prophet Muhammad nígbà tá a fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ tiwa ní ìsìn alánàbí yìí. Sẹ́yìn náà bá fẹ́ sọ pé lẹ́tọ̀ ẹ sọ fánàbí ló sọ bẹ́ẹ̀. It is not allowed. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us, be patient. Be patient. Don't rise against your body. Be patient. Pray for them. That's what he said. Pray for them. مَا رَأَى فِي أَمِيرِهِ شَيْئًا يُنْكِرْهُ فَلْيَصْبِرْ. Whoever sees in his Amir, in his government, in the leadership of his region where he says something that he detests, let him be patient. Internally, sallallahu. But what are you telling the people? When you see something you don't like with government, what are you saying that people should do? Islam does not like violence like this. This is not jihad. Jihad in Lekko. Jihad has its own shuru. It has its own wajibat, it has its own arkan, just like salah and other issues of al-ahkam al-amaliyah in Sharia. They have their own rulings. But someone to come out and say, and one of the major rulings about jihad is staying far. That's why it says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, what is a sunfirkum? If you are called out for jihad, when the valid leader in the community who has social and authority calls to come out for jihad, you go. Not somebody just stand up in one alakalatu or somewhere and say, oh, you are now Salah jihad, Allahu Akbar. If they catch you, you may even be denied jeta. So why go out and disgrace yourself in the first place? So but when people do that, and then there is commotion, there is tear gas being shot, people are running about. You may not have time to observe two units. Just follow this hadith of who? Abdullah ibn Abbas. What will you do? Allahu Akbar. Sami Allahu liman hamidah. Rabbana lakal hamdu. As you are running away. Don't wait for them. May Allah protect us. May Allah protect us. Those who invite fitna, don't wait for fitna. Those who invite, they won't wait. They won't wait. They have never waited anywhere. One man far on. It is the people that they have invited to it, woman for fast. So don't be the one who will be invited to it. Don't answer them. Say, remain in your house. Kun ahada abnai Adam. The Prophet said so, sallallahu. Be one of the two children of Adam. Don't be the one who kills somebody. Worst case scenario. Don't be the one who will kill somebody. It is better for you that you are someone who was defending yourself till you are killed. But don't intend to kill somebody. Don't kill somebody. Don't let the life of a person go off from your own hand. The Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that the Muslim will be upon salama in his deen until a person's life goes off in his hand. He will get into trouble. Because he will not find a means to explain it. So he said, sallallahu, this hadith occurs in Sunan ibn Majah, authentic hadith. Be one who was killed. Don't be the one who killed somebody else. We are saying this because these are the kinds of promotion, these are the kinds of things that have now brought fear in our own community. In the time of the Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it was a valid jihad by authority that brought khawf when they went for jihad. Now it is commotion people have caused that brings these kinds of things in our community. May Allah protect us from the evil of the people. May Allah protect the people from evil statements they made and ascribe to the Sharia of Islam. I think it will suffice for us to stop here on Salātul-Khawf. قد صلاها رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم على صفات مختلفة وكلها مجزئة وإذا اشتد الخوف والتحم القتال صلاها الراجل والراكب ولو إلى غير قبلة ولو بالإمام, even if it is caused by Imam. Our next reading inshallah will be from Salātul-Safar, Babu Salātul-Safar, inshallah. How will the Muslim army observe Salah during these days that wars are of bullets, and the way our bullets are today, that is the way the bows and arrows were. They flew like bullets. The arrows flew in those days like bullets. You find someone cooking, an arrow will reach him on the neck, like the father of Huzaifa, Al-Imām. He was cooking, and the person who fired him was a Muslim. It was an error. It was an error. The father of Huzaifa Al-Imām, he was cooking. He just raised his head, the arrow went. It hit him on the neck. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he interceded on behalf of the person who fired the arrow, that Huzaifa can forgive him. It was one of the things that drew Huzaifa Al-Imām to the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu. So stray bullets, stray arrows used to fly also as stray bullets. Those arrows could be as deadly or even worse than those bullets. Bullets may be removed, but when an arrow goes into a body, you can't just remove the arrow. It must come out with something. May Allah protect all of us. Likewise, the prayer. They practice it as you have people now practicing to shoot people. They have people who practice it. And that was one of the best things that Al-Imām Al-Bukhari knew best, rahimahullah. He never missed a target. Al-Imām Al-Bukhari, the author of our Sahih Al-Bukhari, Muhammad ibn Ismail, Abu Abdullah Al-Bukhari, rahimahullah, he never shot an arrow and missed a target. Except one. And on that occasion, when he fired the arrow was going to its target. A goat passed in front of the arrow and picked the arrow. He didn't target the goat. He had a target. But the owners of the goat said, we no go agree, you must pay our goat. So it became, please, he said, no, please, pay. Pay. So when they found out that it was Al-Imām Al-Bukhari, say, oh, we won't accept money. What will they accept? Hadith. So he paid them a hadith. I wouldn't remember how many reports he gave them, maybe 10 or something. He gave them 10 hadith. I can give you 10 hadith. So he gave them hadith, rahimahullah. I'm just trying to say that arrows were things that people perfected. People perfected shooting today. Do you understand? They used to learn it. And they would hit targets. They were very dangerous. Those things you hear of arrows to those people who use it in their time. So we make Salātul-Khawf as we make Salātul-Khawf. As is possible. From all these, we will find the one that will fit our condition. Allah, even if that's the one of Abdullah ibn Abbas, we will employ it to fit our condition. Sure. The last question, inshallah, for today. Alaykum salam. I mean one. Okay. Now, Salātul-Khawf. Imam. The conditions of the world are from bad to worse. If the condition is bad, you can be arranging yourself in rows. But when the condition is, that's why he says is Ash-Shawkāni. When the issue becomes Ojoguti, then you follow the hadith of Ibn Abbas. Did I answer that question? Is that the question you asked? That's what I understood from it. A brother was raising his hand and we mistook him. Please ask him. Naam? You say what? During Salah. Which Salah is that? At home. And when bullets are not coming and arrows, you face Qibla. Now, ask your question. Your Imam will educate you. When you go to war, there will be briefings from one stage to the other. You will be briefed. You hear Jabir told us that Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam told them that something will happen. So the Prophet talked to them. Of course, from what he will tell them is how that salah. This time, this is what we are going to do. Do you understand? Okay. We started with you, Ko. Amen. Okay. He didn't say practical. Because I say so to speak. They will employ perhaps another methodology that some people should guide behind. They'll pray the salah. Then those people come and pray their own. It's a very simple thing. The basic issue is which of the forms best protect you and will allow you more time for salah, depending on the circumstance that you are in. So those are the basic governing rules. Inshallah, we'll continue in our next class with Salātul-Safar, Salātul-Khawf. I think we can stop here today. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. عليكم السلام.